So yes, Blue Schools, probably most of you have heard about Blue Schools, European-wide initiative. This is a project where the University of Malta is involved, which obviously try to translate this concept to the Mediterranean basin. And the project is close to finishing now, to closing off. The context, before we speak about Blue Schools Med, there's the wider framework, the wider context within which Blue Schools Med was actually approved and implemented, which is EU4Ocean Coalition. I'm not sure how much of you are aware of this, but this is basically one of the major tools that the EU Commission has to actually try to bridge what the EU likes to call the emotional deficit that most Europeans have towards the sea. The Mediterranean, even though the EU Commission calls the Mediterranean a European sea, it's not actually a European sea, because there's many other dimensions besides the European one. But EU4Ocean, basically, this coalition, which is now in its second phase, has three main platforms, and it tries to bring together organizations, projects, and people which contribute to ocean literacy and to the sustainable development of the sea. So it's basically about ocean literacy, about making the people, citizens, more aware about the sea, about the role that the sea plays in everybody's lives, to become more engaged with the sea. Okay, so those are obviously the ultimate mission of ocean literacy. It's obviously supported by the EU Commission, EU4Ocean Coalition, and it's based on a bottom-up approach, set up in 2020, and as I said, 3 communities launched recently its second phase. These are the 3 pillars of EU4Ocean. There is the platform with 146 members, then there is the system of Youth Ocean Ambassadors, YOA, and there's a large number of these Youth Ocean Ambassadors, and they're really active. Some of them are not necessarily based in EU countries. I know, for example, a number of very active Youth Ocean Ambassadors in countries like, for example, Georgia. And also then there is the Blue Schools Network. Okay? And the Blue Schools Met fits within this third platform. So now you have the context, the overarching platform. So as you see, the EU4Ocean framework is quite a comprehensive and extensive one. So again, I'm not going to go in detail in this. So it's the EU4Ocean Coalition is now in its second phase. It's managed like a project, obviously. There's 8 partners. There's also a third party, which is the Offshore Countries and Territories Association, OCTA. There's 8 work packages with the secretariat and so on and so forth. I'm skimming through the admin part. The job, obviously, is to try to attract new members to these 3 communities. And this is why we're presenting this here, this stakeholder conference, to activate current members, to develop collective action projects with community members, and issue calls, regular calls. I'm going to give you a few examples of these calls now, and to organize capacity building activities like Meet a Blue Expert. And also, for example, organize teacher trainings, networking events, STEM, MOOC, so these massive online open courses that some of you probably are familiar with on STEM subjects, on science, technology, education, and the mathematics. Okay, strengthening activities at the national, regional, and city levels, communication, advocacy campaigns like the Make EU Blue campaign. Okay, bring visibility to members at these high visibility events like the European Maritime Day, and work closely with IOC, UNESCO, with whom there is already a memorandum of understanding. So this was one of the calls for the Challenge of the Year, which is currently open. So you're still in time to apply. The deadline is the 14th of July. It was launched in Brest at the last European Maritime Day, 21st May. To strengthen, it's about strengthening skills in ocean literacy. So you have the link there, but even if you Google it, it's the first item which pops up, basically. And also the Make EU Blue Awards, which were recently announced in Brest. Navy Blue was the winner, and 2 others, I cannot remember now the name. Sky Blue, and I forgot the third one. Navy Blue was an initiative involving a lot of NGOs, including WWF, Mediaset, Aquabums, and so on, about reducing bycatch. So very interesting initiative involving 5 or 6 countries in the Mediterranean. Okay, So before passing the floor to my colleague, to Professor Milfsud, two other, and I'll spend just 30 seconds about this, two other initiatives I wanted to highlight. One of them was mentioned at the beginning, which you'll see during the coffee break, which is the Corallo project, which we coordinate at the University of Malta, which deals with the use of digital tools, innovative digital tools in ocean literacy, humanoid robots, VR, virtual reality, holograms. You'll see that during the coffee break. Something else, Andromeda project, which has just closed off, JPI Oceans. All of you have your mobile phone with you, so during the coffee break, I invite you to scan the QR code you'll see outside so that you download our app. With the app, you will be asked to go on any beach in Europe or in Northern Africa to get microplastics out of the beach. It takes 5 minutes. You'll be given a quadrat, saves everything. Then you take a photo with your phone of those microplastics on sheets of paper, okay? And the app will run an algorithm and give you a lot of information on size, color, number, surface roughness of the microplastics, if they're primary or secondary. That gets in our database and gets plotted on a map of Europe or North Africa, and the microplastics get recovered as well in a glass jar and so on. So it's combining AI with citizen science, helping the environment and helping science as well in the collection of this data, okay? So, Professor Milfsud, floor is yours. Yes.
Okay, so thank you very much. Me and Alan did something which is not very, very normal at university because we collaborated on a particular project. He comes from the Geosciences department and I come from the Center for Environmental Education and Research. So we provided some of the pedagogy, obviously provides more of the science. Just to give you just to start, obviously we use the SDGs as a framework within this, both SDG 14, water, and SDG 4, quality education. So the idea is that not everyone will become a marine scientist, not everyone will become a marine politician or anything like that. But we all need to care for the ocean. So that's the idea behind all this. Just a small introduction. We had different countries in this project: France, Italy, Greece, and Malta. There were a number of schools, 14 internationally, and there were 5 from Malta. And as I told you, we were working in synergy on this project. Okay, how did we set up the network? Well, the network was set up. What we used is we used teachers who have a very pedagogical background in the environment. We have a particular master's degree in education for sustainable development. So obviously what we did was we didn't choose normal teachers, but we chose teachers that were already grounded in a special kind of pedagogy, because we don't want only to teach about the sea. We want them to work for the sea. It's not about the sea only, but for the sea. They need to take actions when they grow up and already from now. The project involved different blue challenges. So each challenge has a number of different activities that have to be done by pupils. The idea is not that they are detached from the community, so they have to involve, usually they have to involve the community, like fishermen or people that stay at home or people that work, the school, etc., etc. So it's not just about the schools themselves. So first they identify an ocean-related topic, then they have to collaborate with marine scientists like Alan and with educators to start to produce a particular project that makes sense and out of school if possible. We had a number of different meetings. Obviously, there are also some principles that are important. I won't bore you with all of them, but one of them is, for example, that they have to be co-built. So the idea here is not that the teacher tells the students what they have to do, but it is the students that start to come up with different ideas. And because of that, they have more of a sense of belonging to what they're doing, more of a sense of ownership. As I told you before, this is not about only learning about the sea, but producing citizens that care about the sea, because that's very important. We had training workshops in Malta, in Italy, in Crete, etc., to establish this particular framework. So basically, we gave the tools to the teachers, and we let them be as creative as possible. And the teachers then let the students be as creative as possible. Okay, this is what we probably try to do. I'm not also going to go into them, but one of the most important things is critical thinking here. It is that students have to decide for themselves they are not being led by a teacher. They have to decide, well, yes, there is guidance, but the guidance is very much in the background. And that obviously is very important because the students also produce what is known as a sense of leadership. We did quite a lot, I think. Obviously, we did not really perform any miracles, but it's a very important start. These are some of the projects we had 4 or 5 in Malta. One of them, for example, this is linking food and livelihoods to the sea. So obviously the students decided to study different seaweeds and also some plants that grow close to the coast, decided if they were possibly to be edible or not, and if it's sustainable and their protection status, etc., etc. And then they decided to do recipes and also include cultural stuff from Malta in the recipe, like, for example, the Maltese ftira, which is a particular type of bread which we cook in Malta, and to see if it's usable or not. Another one emphasized links with the community. Here the students became like environmental journalists, and they started asking people like fishermen, people who live next to the coast, what are the issues that they feel, and then they had to report back and explain this to other students in the school, to other teachers in the school, and this also is important to link with the community and to produce a sense of community. And the last one, project that I got is they produced Kahoot quizzes. Basically, the students utilize the software, which is available for free online. And what they did is they built a database of questions for others. So it's like a test on environmental matters. For example, this is just an example. There are different tests, and each test covers different areas of marine and ocean literacy. And it is the students themselves that built the test. They were quite obviously, this is building community within schools and outside of schools with other schools. So this was quite interesting. We also, in Malta, we were the first group that got certified as Blue Schools within this project. There was also the Minister of Education that gave the certificates. We have 4 schools already certified. Obviously, this is something cyclical. It doesn't mean that you're certified as a Blue School, next year you'll be certified. So they have to do different activities year in, year out. We also had feedback to improve projects, like we did questionnaires with teachers, we did questionnaires with pupils, etc., etc. And just to finish off, just to give you an idea what is important, well, we devised a model which is called the 4C model, which is also a play of words with different C's and the C and 4C because you're looking towards the future. So most of the projects had to include an issue of collaboration, because sometimes a lot of Maltese pupils especially lack this, and obviously, as you know, environmental issues and ocean issues require a lot of collaboration. They also had to be creative. They weren't given instructions by teachers, but they had to invent their own stuff, which is not easy at all given the Maltese schooling system. Thirdly, the 4th C is conduct. They were given chance to be leaders, conducting like in the sense of an orchestra maestro, so they had to be leaders. Not everyone had the chance to be a leader in one of the projects or so. And the 4th one is that obviously all of this had to be, something is not happening here, okay. All of this had to be constructed in a context. So for example, the Marshashlock school mostly studied issues that were surrounding the Marshashlock fishing community. If it was in Adira, similarly like that. Obviously that's something has to do much with more tourism. Okay, I think that's basically all from my side. Thank you very much.